Well, I'm back in the high desert again. I just couldn't help myself. I spent several weeks out here recently uncovering the lost filming locations of the original Hills Have Eyes movie, a movie very few people care about, but it was a fun treasure hunt. And the whole time I was up here, there were some other interesting things nearby that I didn't have time or a chance to see, so I'm back with my friend George, who is also tested COVID-free, to finish the job. I've been meaning to check this out for years, and my friends, look at this. We are out once again in Apple Valley, California, looking at the remains of some legendary and decrepit abandoned dinosaurs. In the 1970s, a local homeowner named Lonnie Kaufman had a dream, a Jurassic-sized dream. Much like John Hammond, his dream was to bring the dinosaurs back to life, and he did just that out here. With the help of a local serviceman named Gregory Wicker, they built at least 30 concrete dinosaurs here off this dirt road, pretty much in the middle of nowhere, let's face it. According to Mr. Wicker, the original plan was for this to become a miniature golf course, although people say that Lonnie Kaufman never intended to charge people. He just wanted this to exist. Apparently, Lonnie owned another one of these homes out here in which Mr. Wicker lived, and to pay off part of his $65 a month rent, he would work on the dinosaurs. Eventually, though, the money ran out, no more new dinosaurs were constructed, and those that were here have been left for over 50 years, slowly, one by one, succumbing to decay or vandalism. Very few are now left standing intact. You can see some of those plesiosaurs have seen better days. There's one that's mostly intact back there. It's strange to see these right in the middle of basically an active, lived-in neighborhood. We can see some of the neighbors coming in and out of their houses, making sure that we're, not vandals or something. And yet it's such a remote, weird corner of Apple Valley that, from what I understand, even some of the mayors in town didn't know this was here. It's all on private property now, but the neighbors seem pretty friendly with people as long as you're not causing further damage to the dinosaurs. And wow, dude, this is impressive. Imagine that, just 2 or 3 guys out here with some chicken wire and concrete, creating a Jurassic paradise in the desert. This is the kind of stuff I love, the kind of stuff I don't understand why this doesn't happen in every neighborhood. I know there's been some talk over the years of maybe restoring and fixing up these dinosaurs. It doesn't look like there are too many left to be fixed. They have definitely seen better days, dude. I think the meteor hit that one. This is incredible. I've seen a lot of stuff like this in the actual middle of nowhere, but it makes it even weirder to see it right in the middle of a neighborhood. Look at that. Here's the biggest, most intact dinosaur, possibly meant to be some kind of T-Rex. Look at that guy. That is not an off-the-shelf creation. I love things that are this DIY, this original looking. I love the idea that a guy just decided he wanted to have some dinosaurs, just made up his mind to build a mini golf course, and did it. Even 10 or 15 years ago when I first found out about this and I would see pictures of it, it seemed like these were in much better shape. The last couple of years has really done a number on them. Oh, wait a minute. That looks like a man to me. That's not a dinosaur. I'm bummed I didn't make it out here sooner when more of these prehistoric beasts were standing, but I'm glad we made it when there's still some remnants left. This is incredible. Now, before Mr. Wicker made an appearance on the internet to tell people about what these were, for years online you just hear all these different rumors about what this was, what it was supposed to be, who built it. And apparently very few people ever knew that it was actually supposed to be a miniature golf course. Certainly the photos and the location didn't make it seem like that's what it was supposed to be. But once you're actually out here on the ground, it becomes pretty obvious that that's what it was meant to be. Look at this little concrete bridge right here, all handmade. You can see the wooden stakes in there and the strange collection of pipes and rebar that they constructed this with. I mean, this is amazing. Looks like a big old concrete drainage pipe makes up the center of it. Dude, someday in my life, George, I just want to be able to build something random like this. A dinosaur in the middle of nowhere. A giant hedgehog.
Like a golf course?
No, not like a golf course, just something weird.
Oh, okay.
That one day will just be abandoned and ruined and make people scratch their heads like, what? At first you notice the giant clump that's preserved behind barbed wire behind those people's house over there. But when you come across the road past this little bridge here, I've started to notice that there were actually many more dinosaurs in the larger acreage that have almost completely crumbled away or been destroyed. Look at that. You see all those little white stones in there? Those are actually fossils, pieces of extinct dinosaurs. Dude, look at that. Look at that piece of bottle glass stuck into the concrete. Look at this strange mound right here with a little border around it, possibly a hill for playing mini golf on. Maybe the body of a dinosaur, because here there appears to be a dinosaur head, and look at that. You can just see not too much hope of restoring these guys, although this is the kind of thing where I want to be a millionaire so I can come to the homeowner, you know, and go, hey, is it cool if me and my buddies come out here, we buy a whole bunch of concrete and just make some new dinosaurs, you know, come on. Oh, this is impressive. Look at that giant dog over there. That is a dino-sized dog. Dude, look at the way these things were made, George. You can see just like a 2x4 in there, some weird bundles of sticks, a can of Coors.
Cool.
That's it?
Yeah.
What?
I keep getting distracted by all the jackrabbits. And
that's why you're at a loss for words? You're like, cool.
Well, I mean, we're trying to look at this thing and then a rabbit the size of like a dog just jumps out of the shrub.
And a dog the size of a dinosaur jumps out of the shrubs. Dude, this is so awesome and yet so sad at the same time. Maybe if they weren't hollow, they would have survived better against 50 years of vandalism and weather, but this is the kind of thing, man, I get so impressed by. I'm now starting to notice like a few remnants from concrete poles out there, a little bit of paving over here, and all these lumps that are probably just used as dirt bike jumps now. Probably the remains of former dinosaurs as well. Dude, that's so cool. Oh, somebody out there with the money or the talent of the time to create dinosaurs like this has got to come out here and pitch it to the owners. Like, hey, let me build a new dinosaur out here. That would be so awesome. Oh my gosh, look at this. George has discovered the last remaining mini golf ball out here. Dude, these things are unbelievable. Legitimate, just abandoned dinosaurs. Yes, in the desert, but also in a neighborhood.
His head kind of looks like a sock puppet.
Dude, it really does. But that's what I love about it. I love how weird looking and like unusual they are. I mean, in a very strange, almost creepy kind of way. They really do have a sort of beauty to them. Look at this giant area over here. You can tell that's where they were gonna do the mini golf. You can see all the little pathways over there. Wow. Yeah, look at these fallen giants, man. Crazy. All now fallen into rust and ruin, even though they spared no expense. When I first pulled up, I was telling George, like, I was thinking, dang, you know, there really isn't that much here. It's not that awesome. But then the more I noticed all these little paths and the little hills and all these sort of laying down dinosaur shapes, the more I'm like, wow, it's impressive, man. Like, look at all the work that they did. And then imagine it never even opened to the public. Crazy. You can see the outline of a stegosaurus here on the ground. A bunch of these smaller lizards seem to have survived and fared much better, but the plesiosaurs, or maybe they were meant to be the backs of brontosauruses, they haven't fared as well, except just that one. And I've noticed that in his body over there in that little hole, chipmunks are popping in and out. Yeah, see, it's not till you get right up close that you notice that there are actually dinosaur shapes all over the ground. So there still is quite a lot here that could be preserved or perhaps even restored if somebody has the time, the money, the will. Someone should just grade a little gravel parking lot here and weld a donation box into the ground or something, because this is awesome. You can see there's some other big bodies of brontos and other dinosaurs way up closer to that house, but their back windows are open, and I feel like it's weird to sneak behind someone's house unless they pop out and give you permission, you know? So we're gonna try to keep a respectful distance over here. But man, this is incredible. I mean, this is so cool, you guys. I'm loving this. I have to admit, full disclosure, the reason that we've come to Apple Valley today wasn't just to see these dinosaurs. These are one thing on my list of things that wasn't complete. I know a lot of people were heavily turned off to The Hills Have Eyes by the remake, or just not interested in the old 70s flick. But if you didn't catch that Hills Have Eyes filming location video, go back and give it a watch anyway. It was a pretty fun treasure hunt, a lost filming location for 43 years. I felt like Indiana Jones out there, you know, that sort of, my brother's never even seen the movie before that, but it was about the treasure hunt. Pretty cool. Anyway, the whole beginning of that movie, like the first 5 or 10 minutes, all happens at this gas station in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert, and that one, even I thought, could never possibly ever be found again. So I finished editing that video, I uploaded it, put the episode out into the world, and of course, I just couldn't shake the feeling that I might know where to find it, and I'm pretty darn sure that I have cracked the code. So the reason we're up here is to go see if I'm right, but of course you could never go wrong with stopping first at some bonus dinosaurs, eh, George? Jared, if you think this is impressive from the ground, look at it from the air. Not only can you see just how much stuff is actually clustered over here in this one sort of remaining section, but look at all those dinosaurs on their sides. You couldn't even see all of them from the ground level. That is incredible, man. Both of us agree that our favorite thing down here is the derpy T-Rex, or the derpy dino right here. And that's the one thing that sort of looks like, if he was given a little extra concrete, maybe some steel rods to support him, he could be restored or preserved for future generations. So I hope somebody at least comes out and does a job on this guy, because there's just something so lovable about that face. All right, gang, we came, we saw, we dinosaured, and now it's time to move on. Find out if my hunch was correct and see if we can uncover another decades-lost filming location. 90% sure that this is the right spot, and I confirmed that by using Street View, but I haven't been out here on foot yet, and the Street View pictures are from 2018. So for all I know, the last remnants could have been bulldozed, could be gone, there could be new houses built over them, but I am hoping to find the location of the Lost Hills Have Eyes gas station. I have several friends who hunt movie locations, like treasure hunt movie locations, basically as a full-time passion, who are like, this is the most unfindable spot. I know, but I think I found it. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. Dude, no way. I can't believe I was right. I actually found it. This, my friends, right here, this barren little scrubby patch of land I'm standing on, right alongside a very busy high desert highway, is the original location of the gas station from The Hills Have Eyes. Now, I know many people have not seen and do not want to see a movie like that, but all of the stuff that happens here takes place in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie, and nothing grody, nothing nasty happens in those 5 to 10 minutes. And again, this is more about the treasure hunt for me than anything. I watched that movie years and years ago, and I always, where was that film? Like I do with every other movie. And this one, no one had an answer for. That is until now. Look at this. This is the very slab of the little filling station, the little gas station in The Hills Have Eyes. There's a lot of new home development out here. This is a very busy highway, very close to Adelanto, California, where I could see new housing developments going up, new solar farms. And I had a hunch the gas station was close to an actual highway. Otherwise, why would there have ever been a gas station at all? So I was worried that highway expansion or development would mean that the whole slab of the gas station would be completely bulldozed. I was right that the building must certainly be gone by now. But not only is the slab here, including these 2 concrete pillars, which will become important in a little bit, but even though all of the other buildings, and there were many on this property when they filmed the movie, are now gone, that one lone chimney remains, which is how I confirmed my suspicions about this property on Google Street View, and what I was hoping was still here. And dude, I almost jumped for joy when I just saw that. Okay, the movie itself opens up right here. From across the highway, we see this tumbled down, discarded, beat up old gas station with a sign on the side that says, Fred's Oasis. There was dust and tumbleweeds going across the road in the shot. It really gave you the perfect middle of nowhere feeling, and look at the same spot today. Not a lot of landmarks to line up since the gas station is gone, but if you look at the very bottom of the gas station, where its wooden beams hold up its little overhang, its little porch, at the base of those concrete pillars are still there behind those bushes across the highway. today. The biggest change here today from the movie, other than the buildings being gone, is a new line of telephone poles much closer together, and there's now this giant one basically put into the ground right where the back of the gas station would be. That further pole there is roughly in the same place as the one that was there during the movie. So again, across the highway, using that far telephone pole as a guide, you can see that there are still a number of bushes growing in the same area, little shrubby trees, and the gas station pillars, the little concrete bases, are still right in the same spot they were all those years ago. The shot zooms in the movie, and so does our shot here standing across the highway. Guys, this is incredible. This is a place no one has been to or thought about being Fred's Oasis in 43 years. George, you haven't seen this movie, right?
I've seen about 5 minutes of it.
So you've seen the part with the gas station, but you've seen the screenshots that we have, and then you're seeing this, and this is exciting even to you, right? I mean, it's crazy to think that nobody has been out here, and so many horror movie fans probably live within 5 minutes of this location, which I'll give you the GPS coordinates for in just a couple minutes. But dude, look at this. After those first couple of shots along the highway, the camera moves back into the property to show you sort of a reverse angle and shows off a bunch of the crazy buildings that were here back in the day. In the movie, we see this crazy old school water tower and what looks like a mining head frame behind some large buildings. And all of those buildings are gone now, but look at this. The foundations remain, including the bases, the anchors for the 4 legs of that giant water tower. You'll notice one right there, another's tucked up against the back of that building. There's another one here, and one more makes 4. This all matches up. This building would have been running this way towards the chimney. The other 2 buildings were running perpendicular to that one and to the road going off that way. 3 main buildings, and then there were tons of little wooden shacks and outhouses. But the most striking feature to me, the thing that stuck out to me and that I was just hoping still existed somewhere, was definitely this giant chimney. And in the shots with the water tower and the buildings, you'll notice the camera pans down past this very chimney. And in that shot, you can see all of this rubble. So this building was already long gone by 1976 when they were filming the film. But if we're watching the film and freeze it right on the chimney just like this, notice how it perfectly blends in to the landscape today. Very little about this one spot has changed. Dude, even the stones on the chimney match up. In that opening scene of the film, much like today, it was extremely hazy. You can barely tell that there are any mountains in the background, but the mountains in the background is exactly how I figured it must be in this area of the valley. I pored over satellite photos of this entire desert for, I don't know, a week, and I never expected any small remnant to be here, much less this giant, perfectly matching stone chimney. And as you'll eventually see from the other side, there are more shots of this chimney that line up even better. So from where we're standing, keep in mind again that the gas station would be just to the left of that telephone pole in the center of your screen. And from right over here, the camera actually pans down past those buildings, past the chimney, towards the back of the gas station, where we first see John Stedman as Grandpa Fred emerge. It is insane to me that I can pause the movie and stand here looking at the exact same spot. This is mind-blowing. It's crazy because I was noticing these 2 rocks, this blank space and this other rock in the movie, you know? Very prominent. The whole angle of this, the little shelf down here, just the way this fireplace is curved to be an old, like, sort of Spanish hacienda style oven area. The way it has this face where the building would have been and the roof line is still visible where there was metal that went between the roof and the chimney. I have searched and searched for more information on the history of this property to no avail. The filmmakers did bring the actual gas pump out here, but the gas station was already here, so I'll have to find some more information from one of you sleuths out there. I'd love to hear it. All right, so now Grandpa Fred, who is the grandpappy of all the mutant cannibals, and that's what leads to all the rest of the events in the rest of the movie. Anyway, he comes out of the back of the gas station, loading up supplies into his little blue truck, preparing to get the heck out of here and away from his cannibal relatives, no doubt. And you can see the back of the gas station would have been right there, and the driveway along the side was this first little paved road going back towards the chimney. chimney, this is the area his truck would have been parked in. And then in the film, as he's getting some hooch, in the background, you can see our chimney there, which is still there today. And then if we go back to the film, you'll notice that there's sort of an island behind him, split between two dirt roads. Look again today, that is still here. The area where the cactus was growing is still here. No cactus there anymore. But if you look in the far background of the shot from the film, you'll notice two young Joshua trees just beginning to grow between other cactus. Look again today. There are two Joshua trees, now fully mature, in the same spot, just in the corner of the frame. That is intense. What that means is Grandpa Fred's truck was just here at this sort of dirt crossroad. And so what you have here basically is the gas station up against the highway. There's a restroom building behind it, more towards where George is. Grandpa Fred's truck is here. All the old mining buildings in the background, the rocks and decorations going along the road, and the chimney in the background. These are the major features. And I cannot believe these same dirt roads are still here in the same pattern like that. Like, that is unbelievable, because obviously a lot of this has been bulldozed, but the fact that there are still plants growing along the edge of the property line, the dirt roads are in the same place, and somebody thankfully left that piece of history standing out there along with the slab, means we can now know for sure that we are at Fred's Oasis. All right, we don't have much time. There are plenty of other shots of the property, of the buildings that are long gone now. But basically right here at the back of the gas station is where Grandpa Fred meets Ruby, his own granddaughter, the good mutant, who, by the way, desperately would like to go with him and get out of here. This shot is very hard to line up because the back of the building was here, the door should have been about here. It's crazy because right in that shot where Ruby's disappointed that she can't go, in the background you can see those clumps of Joshua trees. There is still a clump of Joshua trees in basically the same place on the horizon today. Even though Grandpa Fred's is gone, there's this pole here, everything else looks different, but the plants remain. The highway is much busier and the ground level of it has actually been raised, but luckily it's retained its shape, which will come into play in just a second, because he has got customers at the filling station. The Carter family, the family that gets attacked by Grandpa Fred's grandchildren, mutated and cannibalistic in the hills, has arrived. It's hard to line up perfectly, but when Grandpa Fred comes out to see Big Bob from the Carter family, this is the spot they were standing. Now, as you can tell today, there's a big ditch here along the side of the highway, and they've raised the highway a little bit, but look at the shape of the road. That dip in the distance perfectly matches up to the way it used to look back in the 70s. And you can also see that concrete pillar behind Grandpa Fred right there is still here today, although it's been broken up quite a bit. Dude, this is unbelievable. This ditch is actually really deep, and there is one of the biggest ant mounds with those huge ants. I have, look at my foot by comparison, and I'm size 13, ever, right in front of the entrance to old Fred's Oasis. But it's incredible the way this has lasted. Like I was saying, this concrete pillar is all broken up, it's all mangled, but this one has survived virtually intact. And in one of those shots, you can really see that almost telephone pole looking piece of wood next to Grandpa Fred. It was coming out of that little block of concrete right there. Look at it. There it is. When the Carter family comes, this is where their trailer is, right here, right in front of Grandpa Fred's gas station, the back of the Winnebago, getting gas. He pumps it out of one of those old visible gas pumps. Give you what I got, just pack it on, leave it up myself, or whatever he says. Not only does the trailer block out a bunch of the view going this way, but I noticed that in the movie they keep the camera angles extremely low when pointing this direction down the road, and that is because Victorville is right out there, Adelanto. You can see it now, and you can kind of see it in the movie. Now, there are a bunch of shots of the parents talking to Grandpa Fred, you know, about how they got left the silver mine. Lady, there ain't nothing back in the desert, blah, blah, blah. Where you can see some of the mountains in the background between the hood of the car and Grandpa Fred's armpit and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, today, it is so hazy and smoky from all the fires and whatnot that that entire eastern horizon over past Victorville, and actually where the hills were in the Hills Have Eyes, they left the correct direction, is completely obscured from view. Very difficult to see. So it looks like you'll be spared lining up distant mountains. But basically, Doug, the mustached hero of the family, and Bobby, both of them are going around with the dog in this area. And there are some various shots that line up to where the back gate was, or the back of Grandpa Fred's, where the family was walking around, that still look somewhat similar today if you really know what you're looking at. It's interesting that the same dirt paths are here, but those big lava rocks that appeared to line one end of it are gone. All the structures are gone. It's very weird to be here. Anyway, Ruby goes missing. We see Mercury, another one of the mutants, running along by the chimney there. So we get another great chimney shot that is awesome because it really matches up. Look at the very top piece of the chimney. There are not a lot of chimneys that would perfectly match that happen to be in the desert, that happen to line up with everything else. I mean, this is it, guys, this is it. Then from out here on the highway, we get another good look at Fred's Oasis as the Carter family pulls away and Grandpa Fred screams after them, "Stay on the main road now, you hear? Stay on the main road!" Unbelievable the way that lines up today. There was another shot actually facing the same direction down the highway where you could see again the texture, the shape of the road, kind of where the plants are. A lot of it matches up. In fact, in this shot, it's very difficult to see, but there's a tiny bit of a mountain sticking up in the very background on the flat horizon. Today, there's a lot more stuff, but if you look dead center of your screen right now, you can still see that little bit of the mountain poking up. This is one of the points I used to find the correct location. Spending several weeks looking at aerial photos, historic ones, and satellite maps, and Google Earth and Google Street View is not exactly fun, but when it pays off like this, it's like, yes. Anyway, Grandpa Fred screams, "Stay on the main road!" The Carter family takes off towards the hills which have eyes and into cinema history and horror movie legend. Dude, this is crazy. I guess I won't spoil the whole movie for you, but needless to say, Grandpa Fred never gets out of here. Not only is his truck exploded right here behind the gas station by Mercury, one of the mutants who's running around back here in that one shot, but he later has a visit from another relative that doesn't go as well as the Ruby visit. I'm not sure what that building with that chimney out there could have been. There were a bunch of buildings over there. Some of them look sort of mine-ish, but that looks rather old to me. But it's awfully sad that at least the filling station isn't standing. As a fan of Route 66, old highways and old gas stations alone, that kind of bums me out. And this right here, by the way, is California 18, the Pear Blossom Highway. That's right. Grandpa Fred's middle of the nowhere station was sitting right on a main thoroughfare through the high desert. Much like the Cannibal Hills, it's been hiding in plain sight all along. Anyway, I'm very sad that Fred's Oasis no longer exists here in real life. But although I can't do what I really want to do, which is buy the property and rebuild it, that'll have to be left for someone else, I did do what I could in my own small, meager way to bring back Fred's Oasis. I have constructed a replica of the original Fred's Oasis sign. Dude, look at that. No mo gas for 200 miles. It's not perfect, but you know, a couple cans of spray paint and a TV news reporter. What do you think? Not bad for about 30 minutes work last night. The only thing we can't decide is exactly where to leave it out here. We're thinking we're either gonna put it up on that telephone pole, and I saw plenty of political signs on poles, so I think that'll be okay, or leave it out by the chimney in case any other fans want to come out here and take some fun pics at Fred's Oasis. It's crazy because there's still a bunch of rubble piles. Like they just bulldozered everything and pushed all the rubble to one side. That's the remnants, dude. That's the remnants of the Oasis. Yep. For all we know, the original piece of wood that had the original sign painted on it is somewhere in that pile, yeah. Because look at, here's the toilet. Weird. All right, one more time back to the magical Hills Have Eyes chimney, where George and I are propping up the Fred's Oasis sign for the ultimate fun pick. Dude, this is awesome. I mean, this is gonna be a fun one. As long as we ignore the deceased bird down there. What a fun one. All right, you ready, George?
Yeah.
Try not to step on the
dead bird.
Yeah, sorry, big bird. Fun pick! Woo! More fun than getting eaten by a barrel of mutants. See, with the wind blowing this, like that'll never last right there.
No, it'll fall off.
It's eventually too big to get into the chimney, and there's no way to attach it without hurting this. And
I wouldn't want to put it on the floor either.
No, and this feels historic to me. Like I wouldn't want to damage it in any way. If I had liquid nails or something, I'd try to get it against that concrete wall, but even that kind of feels historic. The only thing not historic is the telephone pole, and since all the politicians are doing it, I feel like we could get away with it just this once, right? For Fred! For Fred! Unfortunately, I did not bring a hammer or any nails to the desert. I did, however, bring some screws and a screwdriver. All right, the coast looks pretty darn clear. Clear as this looked all day. All right, George, let's do it. Dude, don't hurt yourself.
If we get in trouble, you're paying for the ticket, right?
Yep.
All right.
Woo! Oh my gosh. Dude! There it is! It's in a very different spot than it would be in the movie, kind of. In the film, the gas station would have been right here. The sign would have been right about there on the side. And in real life, we got it pretty darn close, although I don't think with the wind that's gonna last very long, man. Those tiny screws. So if you wanna see the Fred's Oasis sign, you better hurry. It's gonna be flat on the ground here somewhere in the desert. But look at that, you guys. For the first time in 43 years, the first time in a generation, Fred's Oasis briefly lives again. That is awesome. I know it's a strange mission, kind of a strange way to spend your time, I guess. But I feel pretty good about this one, you guys. I think I'm gonna go ahead and say we've done our duty. Which means I can finally close this chapter, the Hills Have Eyes chapter of my life. Close the book on this one. Go home and sleep well. But first, as promised, I gotta give you the GPS coordinates to Fred's Oasis. And there they are, you guys. Right on the Pear Blossom Highway, right on California 18. Victorville is just over there. And I believe we are technically in the city of Phelan, P-H-E-L-A-N, just near Adelanto, Hesperia, Victorville off that way, on the south side of the highway. So there you go. Fred's Oasis lives again. His children weren't all that he had hoped they would become, nor his grandchildren probably, other than Ruby. But there he is. Gone but not forgotten. John Stedman as Grandpa Fred. Heck of an actor. Missing a couple fingers. Gnarly, cool, raspy voice. And of course, these days, we no longer have Wes Craven with us either. So a little memorial for Wes Craven and all of the Hills Have Eyes fans. And there you have it. Now it's time to head home and get George some food. We've done a good thing here. Make sure to check out the store.randomland.com for all the sweet hats and t-shirts and pins and other things. And you have done your duty too. Go home and sleep well. Why is there a coconut on the ground?
His head kind of looks like a sock puppet.
That's a big fly. Do it again. Oh wow, the wind is getting strong. I just wanted to say, in the background of the movie, there's all those rocks that line the road. And I found out that buried in the sand on either side, a bunch of those rocks are still here. They're all river rocks like this one. The kind that you would find lining planters. A lot of them are broken. A lot of them are kind of smashed up, you know. But they are still, in fact, out here. Look, here you go, another granite piece. This is not natural like sandstone. So there's a whole bunch of them. So basically, Fred's Oasis, the rocks are still here. They've just slowly sunk into the ground over the years. The big lava rocks are missing, but that big trash pile over there may contain some of the remnants of this place. Some of the fencing is there, right here, and in other big bunches that was here in the movie we didn't really have time for. So lots to explore and see out here. But of course, you could never go wrong with stopping first at some bonus dinosaurs, eh, George? Notice how I didn't actually hit you with my elbow there? Because if I had actually been like, bam, you would have gave me the old sock in the arm. And that hurts. You like crossing a busy highway?
No.
Why'd the George cross the road?
Why?
Because his dumb friend took him out to the desert? Duh! Why is there coconut